Here? Okay. If we just carry on from this previous presentation we looked at, we saw that finish up on smoking and no smoking regulations. Firefighting equipment to be available to both ships for transferring, and one of the best mediums to use is foam monitors, where we use a seawater pump, fire pump, and we mix a foam concentrate, and you have foam cans that you can spread foam to cover and smother any fire that's taking place. Water can be provided in the form of a fog, a mist, which helps suppress any fire or burning, and go towards the bunker station. So that's the contingency. Earthing on a switchboard. The switchboard on a ship. Hello. When a ship obviously has to make its own, generate its own power, its own electrical system, and what normally happens ashore, if you get an earth, you know what I mean by an earth? If you get a break in no, not static, actual flow of electricity. If you have electric cable and the cable gets damaged or it gets burnt and you get exposed conductor, exposed wire, it creates a path to earth. So it's like a short But on a ship, if our circuit breaker trips, then we could lose vital equipment, like for navigation, for steering, etc. If the ship is steering, so we can't afford for a single air to trip the electrical system. And what we have on a ship is we have an earth fault detection system. So if we get an earth fault, we get an indication, we get an alarm to tell us we have an earth. Earth can be caused by water getting into equipment and leaking, so the electricity is conducting to earth, or it can be caused by a break in the cable and exposing live contacts. So we get an earth fault. If we get an earth fault, what we normally have is a panel, indicator panel, that tells us which area the fault is in, and then we can go and we can isolate circuit breakers one at a time until the fault disappears. So then we know that's us got rid of our air fault. And if we get two air faults, then this can lead to direct short circuit, and this can cause a blackout of the vessel. On board the ship, switchboard, onto panel, we have an earth indicator light to indicate fault circuits. We don't want any electrical sparking or arcing to take place that might ignite the indication of faulty circuits. We immediately trace and isolate to avoid arcing. As I say, we can pinpoint roughly where we can see, we can breaker by breaker, we can disconnect one at a time till we see that the air fault clears, then we can investigate that data. So the bunkering operation is to be suspended in case of an earth fault during ongoing transfer. So we can't isolate it. If we can't find out straight away where this earth is, then we need to stop bunkering as a safety precaution. Any questions on that? Yeah. Okay. You're right in mentioning electrostatic charge. You can get arcing caused by static electricity. So to prevent any arcing between the ship's manifolds, both ships are to be earthed, all hoses to be continuous, electrical continuous, and the hose string is fitted with an insulating flange at the bunker manifold. So that an insulated flange only fitted one ship. Otherwise, if we get insulated flanges on both ships, we can get a hydrostatic build-up to the hoses and the flanges.
I'm sure also they provide an earthing line.
Yes.
And they are loading or discharging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Electrical storms. So if we have lightning coming, we don't want to carry on bunker operations then. Sudden electrical storm appearing, operations is suspended, and then until it's considered safe. Radar equipment, if it's not intrinsically safe, something you wouldn't think of with the actual ship's radar itself, can cause, especially if the bunker bar is a lot smaller, then the radar sweep across the sea all close range. So the bunker ship normally switches the radar switched off. Again, warning signs and instructions should be posted around the area, clearly visible. Cover the risks of handling cryogenic fluid, which is shown by a snowflake. Fire, obviously, safety, compressed gas, bottles, and nitrogen, whatever. So, safety is paramount on board ship, and this is just another instance where we apply our health and safety signage and the risks of handling the fluid. So all the crew should be briefed, all the engineers should be aware of what's going on. So should the deck officers, even though it's maybe they're not directly involved. Certainly from the deck officers, from a stability point of view, if the chief engineer is going to load cargo, is going to load bunkers, I should say, then the chief officer must know about it, because how it's going to affect the stability of the ship, his loading plan, because you might also be doing cargo as you're doing bunkers as well. So this can affect the trim or the stability of the ship. So the chief officer has to be in consultation with the chief engineer regarding how much fuel is going aboard, where's it going, is it going to affect the trim and the stability of the vessel. Yeah, during the voyage as you consume it, it can affect the loading of the vessel. Accommodation openings should be closed. It's the same on oil tankers during any cargo operations. They usually make announcements, PA announcements, cargo is about to proceed. All openings and doors to be kept closed during cargo processes. On gas carrying ships, you normally have, each individual will have an escape set in your cabin. So you will have a cylinder of air, like a small breathing apparatus you can put on with the mask over your face. And in the accommodation there are gas detectors, gas alarms. So when gas alarms go off, it means that there's gas going into the accommodation space. As I said earlier, the gas isn't toxic, it's not going to kill you. It's not hydrogen sulfide or anything like that. It's not like from you get the rotten egg smell from hydrocarbons. It's just that obviously the gas will displace oxygen in the air. And if you have to walk through a gas-filled atmosphere, then you better have a breathing apparatus set on. Exactly. Funnily enough, LNG is not as dangerous as LPG. If you get LPG, which is propane and butane, they're more readily flammable than LNG. LNG takes a higher temperature to ignite than LPG. So LPG, propane and butane, if you've got a lighter, this is, you imagine having 135,000 cubic meters of that, yeah. It's quite volatile. What used to happen sometimes on the LPG ships, they don't they don't burn boil off. They continuously re-liquefy the refrigerant, the cargo, because it's held at minus 43 degrees instead of minus 162. So at minus 43, we have onboard plant, we can compress LPG and we can condense it, we can return it back to the tank as liquid. So we take the gas, we compress it, condense it and send it back to the tank again. So in a continuous process. So there's no burning, there's no boil off gas gets burnt on an LPG vessel. So if the liquefaction plant breaks down, then if it starts to vent off, then we must vent to the atmosphere. If that happens, then we need to inform the bridge, or the bridge need to turn the angle of the ship so that the wind will blow the gas away and not towards the accommodation. Or in the engine room, believe it or not, what will happen is the propane or butane vapours, if they go into the air trunking, they go into the generator turbocharger and causes it to overspeed because we're mixing air and we're putting gas into the turbocharger as well as air and then the fuel. Yeah, exactly. Give it a boost.
Consider as an advantage.
Improved efficiency, yeah. So, personnel transit is only allowed through designated doors, which should be closed. So, we want to keep our accommodation openings to a minimum, and if people are coming and going, then they need to open doors, close them quickly, and not leave doors lying open. The receiving ship is normally larger than the bunker ship. There were safety zone above the bunker station during bunkering, 10 metres each side of the station. Some ships have a safe area, a citadel if you like, that you can actually go to and close, and it's within a confined area in the accommodation that is double sealed from outside, and so we can call that a safety zone, a safe room. Something like that, yeah. Market safety zone. No unauthorised person to access the open deck above the bunker areas, warning signs to be posted, no overhead lifting, no maintenance during bunkering, no manoeuvring of ship equipment, ventilation, that's what it says, ventilation in the area to be closed. So if we had an engine room ventilation, we do not want anything, the engine room fans to be sucking in from that side, so we close the ventilation on the bunker side. So we saw from the video earlier, animation, that we were going to inert, check equipment, moor, carry out a checklist, receiving ships next, earth and hoses, return checklist signed, on a signal boat, ships start the transfer sequence, purge the lines, ship man the remote control valves, inert lines, disconnect, and marine departure, inert and cargo line. So this is a bullet point list of start to finish. The procedure starts with an earthing, it finishes with an earthing. So we're keeping pipes safe. Yeah, we go from fresh air to fresh air. We go from fresh air to inert through the sequence of cargo, not cargo, but bunker transfer, and then inert, and then back to fresh air again. We never go from a gas state to fresh air without an earth in between.
Lifting using nitrogen, inerting using
Nitrogen, yeah. Light condition. In a ship's term, light condition is are you loaded, are you light? This isn't meaning light condition, we're talking about the actual daylight available. So bunkering can be carried out at night time. If you're doing fuel oil bunkering, it's quite common to bunker at night time. But for LNG, they recommend just preferably conducted during daylight hours. Yeah, just for to be able to see what's going on and you know, see any gas escapes or anything like that, you know, and even to see people to signal to just for a communication point of view, you want to be able to keep an eye on things. It is the word preferable there. We'll say not say you can't do it at night time, but if it's to be done after daylight hours, we need to have extra lighting, spotlights. If you don't have sufficient deck lighting, you should put portable spotlights or wing spotlights. So maybe from the bridge you can turn some lamps around and shine down onto the area. And it's just for yeah, it's just for good housekeeping, making sure everything is okay, it's as it should be, it's tidy, there's nothing to the naked eye that looks incorrect or anything like that. Much easier to do if we have good visibility rather than pitch black. If there's any issue to compromise the safe transfer, then we have supposing there was an emergency within the vicinity, some ship emergency, a ship goes to fire or something, you know, all of a sudden tide is moving, traffic coming, waves, anything that causes a disruption or a possible danger, then a transfer. But we shouldn't get to the stage because we should do in our pre-planning process. We should make sure everything should be.
In case of accident, in oil tankers, I think the damage in pollution and oil spill. In these ships, LNG and LPG frequency. world, or
Yeah,
destroy, or what is the sequence of one accident?
it can do. It can do. If the LNG spills onto the sea, it floats on top of the water. Yeah, it floats on top. It's much less dense, so it would float on top of the water in a big puddle, and then it would evaporate off. As long as it doesn't ignite, it will go to atmosphere. It will disperse into the atmosphere. Now, the recent studies have said that methane gas is second only to CO2 as the major atmospheric pollutant on the planet. So you've got CO2 and we've got methane. A lot of methane is produced organically. Cows produce methane gas. Methane gas. When the cows eat the grass and someone breaks it down, they make methane. And also, you can see that a small amount of methane gets vented to the atmosphere when we do bunker
So the
processes.
problem in accident tends to be pollution, or all together with fire or pollution, or what is just the
Well,
major stations?
in the history of LNG, they had on a plant in America they had a big accident 50, 60 years ago, and they realised the problems of LNG at the time. LNG makes normal carbon steel. It makes it very brittle. So they didn't realise this, and they had some steel pipe fracture, and it caused a massive explosion. But everyone is aware now of the limitations of ordinary steel and cryogenic substances such as LNG. So we use special steels that don't get affected by the low temperature. We use containment systems on board the ship when we're talking about burning the fuel. We use double skin pipes. We have inert gas in the space between the pipes. There's a lot of safety precautions around LNG, and there's not been any major vessel accidents. So out of the two things, it's lighter than air, the LNG. When it flashes from liquid to vapour, its volume increases by 600 times. As long as it disperses quite quickly and it disperses into the atmosphere, then the concentration of the gas is too weak to make it ignite. And it also needs a higher temperature. It's got higher ignition temperature than propane or butane. So even though you use gas to cook with, it's LNG, natural gas. But if you just opened a natural gas cooking ring, you can't light it with a cigarette. You know, you need a proper flame or an igniter, a proper hot spark to ignite it. It won't ignite immediately, which makes it a little bit safe. And the LNG has got no smell. But for domestic gas that we use for cooking, they add. Yeah, so you can smell it, you can recognise it. If you walk into your house and you can smell gas, then you call the gas board to come and fix it, because if you can't smell gas and then you go and light a match.
Trying everything.
Yeah. So hoses connection for transfer, obviously the slack take up the relative motion between the two vessels. The hose needs to be supported because we don't want any tugging on the flange that might cause damage to coupling. Fenders are fitted between the vessels to prevent them touching each other. Yeah, so the ships don't touch metal to metal and cause damage. No part of the bunker ship can come in contact with the receiving ship. So they've got big plastic inflatable fenders that go along the side of the ships. Pipelines connect the bunkers to the LNG tank. So usually two pipes, one for the liquid, one for the vapour, the gas return. They can have a third pipeline to nitrogen. So bunker ship is also a high pressure tank for LNG. If we let the LNG evaporate in the tank, higher pressure is achieved in the piping system. This pressure can push the LNG into the tanks after bunkering, which is called stripping down. This minimises the nitrogen contaminating fuel. Three pipes arrangement shown here. One would be your cargo liquid, your gas, and your nitrogen. Yes, manufacturer. So as I mentioned before, we'll do checklists. We'll check the temperature, pressures. The temperature of the receiving tank is higher than the bunker tank, and as soon as the gas comes in, some of it will vaporise, and that can increase the tank pressure and trigger the relief valves. So these tanks are all pressure vessels. As such, they must be fitted with a relief valve. Do you know what I mean by a relief valve? Spring-loaded valve. It's a heavy spring that holds it closed. If the pressure rises in the tank, the relief valve lifts. It relieves the pressure, yeah. So the pressure of both tanks must be reduced prior to bunkering in the case of receiving a high tank temperature. The master confirms that the pressure and temperature ranges are data limits. Communication link again makes it possible to monitor the transfer. Okay, I already mentioned this, pumping using pressure instead of pumps. If we have a pressure, we can use that pressure to push the flow LNG into the tank, or we can use pump. The tank and receiving bunker tank can handle pressures of approximately 10 bar. So the pressure vessel is sufficient. You would never get 10 bar in the cargo tank, it would go apart. But in a pressure vessel, you can deal with that. So these are our pressure vessels. We've taken from one and filling the other one. So we will fill only to a certain amount. There will always be an ullage space. What I mean by ullage space is an empty space between the liquid cargo tank itself. That'll be maximum maybe 85–90%. Okay, there's a formula there that dictates the maximum allowable volume to which the tank can be filled. We'll also measure the quality. Same as I said to you about bunkers, taking bunker fuel, we would take a test sample, analyse it, and we can take a sample from the fuel here and using a gas chromatograph, and we can analyse it for its energy value and content. What do I mean by energy value? Yeah. The calorific value, how much energy. Because we want to know that the gas we're getting is good and it's got sufficient calorific value that we're paying for. We analyse the gas, take a sample. Now, during the flow or the connection of the hoses, we have these valves or couplings, breakaway coupling on each hose. If the hoses don't break in case of extreme movement in emergency, this coupling will disconnect and shut at both sides. You see the spring-loaded valves and the seal here. when they're connected together, then against that spring, these two pins locate. This connects up here to here, the two blue parts. So these valves lift off their seats against the springs. That allows flow to flow either way. And then in an emergency, if these are pulled apart, then instantly they close under the action of the spring, so that this is the hose, this is the connection, then the gas is trapped. As soon as we pull that apart, the gas is trapped in each pipe because of the quick closing connection. We need good quality mooring lines so that the ships are pulled tight towards each other and not moving about too much. And gas detectors fitted so that they would give audible and visible and audio signals in case they're detected, so if a gas leakage is detected. As I was saying about having light and during daytime operations, if it's night time maybe you won't see a leakage, but if you have alarms there, you can detect it. People transferring is not normal, but if they have to, they should be on an insulated lightweight gangway and rails and a safety net. Drip trays I mentioned earlier, insulated stainless steel trays are fitted below the manifold to prevent damage to the steel hull in the case of leakage, brittle fractures. So drip trays below the manifolds, trolley manifolds closed. So do you know what I mean by drip trays? It's a tray that's going to catch any spillage there. So again, the bunkering process, communication, hoses for the transfer will get connected, and any natural gas is led back to the bunker ship through the gas hose, balancing the pressure in the tanks. So we're going to put the pump on in the bunker ship. It's going to pump the gas to the cargo ship, the receiving ship, and that will start the process. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can get copies of these presentations. But we're going to measure the flow, the pressure, the temperature throughout the process, and then once the cargo transfer, the bunker transfer is finished, the hose are disconnected, nitrogen purges, and any natural gases through the vent masts. Okay, we need to build in some emergency systems, and we have emergency shutdowns required on both ships. In the case of an ESD, emergency shutdown, different valves are pumped and closed to shut down. Anyway, so we've got this here LNG pump from the bunker vessel. We'd be passing up through the hose into the steering tank, steering vessel of the ship. You've got an emergency shutdown here, so that
at the manifold, right?
yeah. After it's on this side of the manifold for this vessel, and on that side of the manifold for that vessel. So if we had an emergency here, for example, so we've got a hole in the hose or something like that, and it's immediately apart, there's some leakage, there's a big leakage coming through the hose here, then these emergency shutdowns will shut this and shut this, and they would like instantly close the electrically operated valves and give off alarm as well. We can still be connected using the vapor side, but if this is the leakage is taking place here, then that is partly get shut down.
So ADS is abbreviation for
This
Yeah.
emergency shutdown.
And
Yeah.
they talk about.
Yeah. Also, what can happen as well, it was a phenomenon that wasn't really known about, is that if a ship, if you're alongside and you're doing bunkers, and another ship comes along, if it's going too fast, it can cause interaction, it can cause the ship to pull, to move that way. And so now ships have limits, they have speed limits, so they can't pass more than 4 knots, for example, so they don't create this disturbance. But if you imagine if the vessel pulled apart like this, well, you've got the quick closing connections that we saw earlier that come apart, that close off. But if there's any actual rupture in between, then you get a leakage of the gas and liquid. We want these emergency shutdowns to operate. There should always be a list of instructions and who's responsible, everything familiar, and what to do for safe bunkering, and also instructions to cover what should happen in any situation such as loss of communication, loss of power, breakaway of the ship, away from the position, etc. We have bunker checklists. Like most things, we have checklists for a lot of the stages we do. Bunkering's no different. Check off everything in order. Not really watch that. Not really do simulation bunkering. So that was bunkering of LNG onto a cargo vessel. Bunker barn. Any questions? All clear? Yeah. Okay, you asked me earlier what would happen if you had a fire. Yeah? It should be green. That light should be green. Turn that, like the right side. No. Yeah. No. No. I can see. Okay. Turn it like. Yeah, then it increase the volume. Try to disconnect and connect again. Which one? The volume cable. There's only one cable? No, the white one. Oh, this one? Yeah. Is it connected properly? Okay. Doesn't matter, I can talk to do it. I'll be voiceover man. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's okay. That's fine. Would you like both? This is something they discovered in the oil industry. 30 years ago or so, and they call it a blave or a blavy, a boiling liquid and expanding vapor explosion. I don't know who made up that name, but it's a good name. And it's basically what happens if you get a pressure vessel with a flammable gas, and this is done under controlled circumstances. What you've got here is a vessel with liquefied gas inside. Now the blue here is signifying the level of the liquid. Right? They have a controlled fire going on here. So there's a continuously applied flame in this test to mimic what would happen in the event of a fire on board ship, for example. If we've got, you imagine now you've got a bunker, a ship, and for environmental reasons we've got a bunker tank, and the bunker tank has got LNG in it. Say we get a fire on board ship, and the fire's near the bunker tank, which contains our LNG. Do we want to be anywhere near that?
No.
Initially, maybe okay, because what happens is the level of liquid in here is actually keeping the tank cool. So although the fire is transferring heat in, the gas will be boiling off, and then the gas, what will eventually happen is it reaches a certain pressure, and then what I spoke about earlier, the relief valve lifts. You see the relief valve lifting, and the relief valve lifts, this flame here will set fire to the gas that's escaping. Now, when the relief valve lifts and the gas escapes, then the pressure in the tank reduces, the relief valve sits down again. But that escaping gas and...
But also fire can go in from that valve as well, because like when a fire will catch that gas.
Yeah, but the pressure just blows it up the way. As soon as the pressure in the tank drops, the valve closes again under spring. So the air can't get sucked in, because air is at atmospheric pressure. This is in much greater pressure. And the effect of this gas escaping keeps the tank cool. Although the metal of the tank will be getting hot here, it's actually being cooled by the escaping gas. So I'll move it on a wee bit and then talk a little bit more. Okay. So there's the tank. We're igniting it. Starting to heat up. But if the tank was empty, it's going to be more dangerous. If the tank had a very small amount of liquid in it, it would be more dangerous. Because it would heat up a lot quicker. There's the relief valve lifting now. So there's the gas escaping to atmosphere via the relief valve. The pressure in the tank will be reducing now. That's it. The relief valve closed again. But because the relief valve's open, then it's opening again. So we're losing more gas. So the liquid level's coming down all the time. This is when it starts to get dangerous.
The pressure decreasing.
Yeah, but also it means that the temperature of the bottle is increasing now. Temperature, see now when the levels go down, there's less liquid here to keep this cool. So what happens? This is under pressure. So now if the metal gets soft because of the heat, it's going to rupture. It's going to eventually rupture. And when it ruptures, it's quite spectacular. So the less liquid there is bang, there it goes. Look at the height of the flame.
How big is this?
The intensity of that.
How big is this tank?
This tank, it's about, but look at the size of it, it's about 5 cubic meters, something like that. And we'll come back and you'll see the sort of scale of it.
This will happen in a ship, like in a big tank, so just like
yeah, it's not a very big tank. Look at the tank itself, it's firing off with a projectile. Yeah.
Yeah, the size of the table was the table.
Yeah, so it's not much bigger than the size of that, yeah.
But imagine yeah, I'm imagining if this happened on a ship.
Yeah. So the explosion happened at what point?
The explosion happens because as long as the bottle as long as the receiver, the vessel, the pressure vessel, as long as it is intact, then this won't happen. But because as the level goes down and there's less liquid, the liquid as it boils off is actually keeping the tank cool. I mean, relatively cool. It's got the heat there. But as the metal temperature gets hotter, it becomes plastic, what we call plastic. It suffers from creep. Creep is the effect of temperature, which causes the metal to become soft. And because the pressure's inside, the metal becomes soft, and then it'll expand, it'll bulge, and then it will break open. When this breaks open, the contents will come out very rapidly, and then that's what's giving you the massive explosion, the large explosion. But as long as if the material doesn't fail, you won't get the explosion. But if the material fails, you will get the explosion. Now, it's quite common in Scotland, in rural areas, where there aren't mains gas. People have these tanks in their garden, in the house. If you go out in the countryside where there's farms that are maybe like a little far away from any sort of mains gas, they either have oil tanks or have gas tanks, that supply a pipe outside into the house. Now that tank there doesn't look much bigger than one of these domestic type of tanks that you could have to supply gas for domestic purposes. So that's what happens.
So there's a fire in India, we have a time to
Yeah, you have time to escape.
try to fight it in the beginning. If you can't, okay. If you can't, just run away.
Well, the only thing you could possibly do there is try and shut off the source of the fuel. If there's obviously that was done in a controlled situation there, where they were applying flame underneath to make it hot all the time. If you can isolate the fuel supply and then boundary cool, put a fire hose, from a safe distance, boundary cooling onto it, and you could reduce the temperature of the tank. But that was under control. That was under controlled conditions. It took a lot to make that happen. It took a long time, sustained input of fuel, for all that gas to boil off, to get to the stage where the metal material temperatures weakened the structure, and then the structure failed. I mean, when you think about metal and materials, it's a characteristic of steel, is that as it heats up, it gets softer. And once it softens, it just loses its properties, and it buckles and disintegrates.
Okay, do you have any other questions on LNG?
I believe so far so good.
So far so good.
In the future, we will find anything LNG. We don't know exactly.
As I say, LPG is probably more dangerous.
Than LNG?
Yeah. Liquefied petroleum gas.
Yeah, but they get salary more, but much better than LNG. Salary is better than LNG.
Yeah.
But we are looking for a salary. Stay operate in the job. So, our country.
Good salaries for LNG, yeah. The only problem is nowadays, when I was at sea, when we used to go into port, places like Singapore or whatever, you could go off the ship, go ashore, come back on the ship again, nobody said a word to you. Now it's all security and everything's, you have shore passes, you have to get a stamp, you have to get a photograph taken, everything. And so it's all about security now, which is securing the terminal and then protecting it. And what you find now in the LNG terminals is that they're so far away from anywhere that you can't really go ashore. There's nothing there's nothing there, you're not near
Some
near the town.
projects there also, Rotterdam, for example,
Hmm.
you have to get affected for an hour to be in the system. And also the waiting time going in Italy is some short, like 3 days, 6 hours. So this is the advantage of the speed nowadays. So that's right.
Okay, Liam, I think we can. I'll sign off now, thank you. Yeah, this is why I think being on small container ships